Open the door.
I just wanted to come to a country where I feel safe, where I would not be recognized for what has happened to me.
Aminata Conteh-Biger never thought she would have this life in Australia. Being with her family feels unreal after the brutality she endured during Sierra Leone's civil war.
Put your foot, it's okay.
Seeing people's hands being chopped, that was very, very common.
At 18, Aminata was abducted from her home in Freetown and kept as a sex slave by Sierra Leone's brutal rebel forces. When she was released, the UNHCR fast-tracked the young refugee to Australia.
For 5 years, I didn't really talk to people. I would just go and I would just leave quickly and disappear. And I would come home and I would stay in my bedroom.
So hold the arm.
Nobody wants to live like that. And that was them still holding me in prison. So even though I was in Australia, I was still kidnapped by them.
She enrolled in a suburban Sydney high school and kept her past hidden for years.
Sometimes I don't feel like I survived what I survived. I think everything in my life since after the war has always been like, it feels like a dream, like I'm dreaming sometimes.
Are you doing your legs?
Yeah.
But when Serafina came, when she was little, I would touch her to feel if it's real.
Aminata's pregnancy was a blessing, but her daughter's birth was traumatic.
Doctors are saying, push, 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 nothing is happening. It was really, really bad. We had over 7 doctors in the room.
The doctors later told Aminata they didn't expect her daughter to survive.
When I came back home with Serafina, I realized that 110%, if I was in Sierra Leone, myself and Serafina would not have survived. That is a guarantee. I would have been one of those women that would have passed away with their daughter.
Thank you, God, for this lovely day and this lovely story, and amen.
Aminata was horrified to learn that women in Sierra Leone are almost 300 times more likely to die in childbirth than Australian women. This was a turning point. Her husband, Antoine, says that until then, Aminata had been reluctant to go back.
I remember one day I was telling her, oh, I can't wait to go to Sierra Leone and visit where you grew up. And at this point she told me like, oh no, I'm not going back until I have something to give to the community.
So Serafina, you're going to help Mama to pack to go to Africa? I just want to help. I really just want to help.
I don't know how to vote.
Okay, I can.
So you felt like it was something that you could do something about?
Yeah, I really believe that, even though I had so many challenges.
Okay.
Please.
Okay.
Aminata wants to find out why Sierra Leone is the most dangerous country in the world for a woman to have a baby, and what she can do to help. She's brought along 2 close friends she met while working as a spokesperson for the UNHCR.
That was so sweet what that guy just said to me. Thank you for looking after our sister.
Yeah.
Oh, that's...
Penny Gerstel and Maureen Collins helped set up the Aminata Maternal Foundation. They're being hosted by the Aberdeen Women's Centre, which is one of the only safe places for women to give birth in the whole country. The mothers and children treated at this private clinic get free health care. They're among the poorest and most vulnerable women in Sierra Leone.
Good morning, drink tea.
Aminata's foundation is already supporting this program for pregnant girls, some as young as 10 years old, who live in Freetown's slums. They're often malnourished, and their pelvic bones are sometimes too small to give birth. Many are victims of neglect and abuse.
Papa don't die. Papa been 6 years of age, 9 died.
Aisha dropped out of school at 10 to support her family by selling drinks and was raped by one of her customers.
One day, the man told Aisha when he bought the drinks to take her to his room. Immediately, Aisha took the drinks to the room. The man tampered with her.
So how old is Aisha?
Aisha is 14. Aisha is 14 years old. She's 12 years old.
It's almost impossible that this is really happening. My head was spinning just to hear a 12-year-old girl got pregnant.
You've been through something even more traumatic while you were still a teenager.
I know. I think even though things that have happened to me, being raped during the war, and especially for my first time, a few men, I feel like that was a war that I didn't have control over. But this is not a war. That's the difference for me.
Unlike these girls, Aminata had a privileged upbringing until Sierra Leone's savage civil war arrived on her doorstep.
Yeah, this one. Yeah.
Looks different?
Looks so different. This is where my father used to live. So this used to be his bedroom. So this is the kitchen where he'll make our breakfast.
Your dad?
My dad, my father. And he'll have his apron on. And we'll have breakfast with him here.
Aminata enjoyed an idyllic childhood here, but it came to a sudden end on the 6th of January 1999.
When the rebels came to the city, Freetown, we used to watch from the windows. So we would see everything that was happening, all the smoke, or all the people being burned, or the houses being burned. I remember one of the rebels outside, who is in this house? And then they said, if nobody comes out, we're gonna burn the house. So this is when we all got panic. We go like, we have to open the house. I was holding my dad's hand. His hands were shaking, he had Parkinson. And I hold it still so it would shake. And just in that moment, one of the rebel leaders, Darami, looked at me. As soon as he looked at me, I knew that he was coming straight for me. So by the time he walked, I already let go of my dad's hand. And then he called, come here. Then I walked towards him.
Aminata's father was powerless to save his 18-year-old daughter. They both knew what would happen next. Young women who caught the eye of warlords were often taken as sex slaves.
I was very innocent. When Darami took me, I've never really been with a man before. That night when he found out that I not slept with a man, he became even more obsessed with me. I remember just now waking up and just bleeding, but my recollection that he has called some of his friends to rape me at the same time. So yeah, so that is my first experience.
Aminata lived through unspeakable atrocities on the front line of the Civil War. After 4 months, she was released with other prisoners in exchange for food and found her father a broken man.
He was almost scared of looking at me. He was scared because, I've been hurt. And he didn't text me.
Aminata's dad died in 2003 and was buried in Freetown. She has yet to say her final goodbye. With encouragement from friends like Penny and Maureen, she started speaking about her ordeal in public, using her profile and newfound strength to help other women.
I survived. My life is a miracle every single day. I was living around bombs. So if I've come through that, you can't really tell me I can't be something.
But it's still early days for the Aminata Maternal Foundation. She's using this trip to work out where to direct her help. Today, she's exploring one of Sierra Leone's most notorious slums with a nurse from the Aberdeen Women's Centre.
Krube is one of the most dangerous communities to have a baby. And for human beings to live together with animals is very, very dangerous. They are prone to disease like cholera, scabies, malaria.
The average life expectancy for a woman in Krube is 36 years. For a man, it's 32.
Almost months you belly. 6 months. You sabi Aberdeen Women's Centre?
Everywhere we go, we find more pregnant women. All of them get a slip of paper and the same advice.
You go take this paper and go at the gate, yeah? Early morning.
Which time?
Wednesday.
Many are malnourished and HIV positive.
Wednesday. Today Friday. Wednesday.
How do most of these girls survive here?
Most of them survive on prostitution.
And how old are they when they begin prostitution?
12, as early as 12.
Sierra Leone's health system had slowly started to recover in the years after the Civil War. But then came the recent Ebola outbreak, which killed almost 7% of all health workers. And it was back to square one.
I will sign me for go now then for take care of me. This
yeah.
go born.
Okay.
We go be saying the couch.
Okay.
The last time this woman was pregnant, her baby died after 4 days of labour in a community clinic and government hospital. Another baby died in a fire.
She's already lost 2 babies. It's really sad because I live all the way in Australia. I have 7 doctors when I had Serafina. If I was here, I would have lost her and I would have died. But they did everything in their power for me to deliver that baby safe, and for her not to be able to have that, I just think that it's really unfair.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
It's even more dangerous for women giving birth in the countryside, where there are no doctors or hospitals. This is where Aminata thinks her foundation can make the biggest difference, perhaps even opening up its own clinic.
We've heard there's been a maternal death in one of the local villages. We know that many women die from sepsis or infection, many women die from obstructed labour, and another large number die from hemorrhaging. But without knowing the specifics of the deaths and how many are dying and where and etc., then it's hard for government to form policy.
No, dear, Abu.
Nobody knows more about what help is needed out here than Bernadette Fofana, one of the nurses from the Aberdeen Women's Centre. She leads us to the grave of a 16-year-old who died last week after giving birth.
So where's the graveyard?
Kadiatu Fofana now lies in her family's backyard.
I don't know how to express this, because for us, we are still trying, we are fighting so that a woman should not die whilst giving birth. We want the government to improve on this. For the pregnant women to...
Oh, it's okay. You're doing your best. You're doing a good job.
So sad.
She's so a baby.
She's such a baby.
She's a baby.
So young.
Kadiatu's little brother wanted to show us these precious photos of his sister.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We decide to visit the health centre where Kadiatu died.
Money.
Bernadette suspects she had anemia, but there's no way to screen blood here. There's not even a decent phone signal if you need to call for help.
Water, plain water. The other hand, the plain water. Plain water again.
This is the delivery room for women from 14 surrounding villages, almost 4,000 people.
You're doing a lot. You should not be struggling. You should have a lot of equipment.
Things are diabolical. It's the worst place in the world to give birth. You know, I guess that means that there's so much we can do. That gives us a lot of opportunities. Whether we decide to tackle education, whether we decide to tackle provision of equipment or train doctors, train midwives and nurses, it's an open book.
Oh, yeah.
So this is the baby whose mother has died?
Yes.
Kadiatu's baby daughter has a big fight ahead to survive. 1 in 5 children in Sierra Leone die before they're 5 years old.
So what did the baby they eat so now? What's on the again? Gripe water with glucose. Now more they take. Eat again, you Bobby?
So that's what the baby's gonna eat all the time.
Just glucose.
Glucose.
And gripe water.
Gripe water.
And it's tragic. There's no access to baby food, to baby formula, and this baby, no one's going to take it on to breastfeed it, so it'll get sugar and water. Thank you.
Penny arranges to provide the family with milk formula for the next 6 months. With any luck, Kadiatu's baby won't share her mother's fate. At our next stop, a remote village an hour's drive away, we're hoping to prevent a death rather than mourn one. There's a pregnant teenager here who needs urgent medical care, but her family seems resistant.
Zainab, how the body? You sure? So this baby has weight rangaise, eh?
We think Zainab's about 16. No one here keeps track of birthdays, and she's 43 weeks pregnant. Women are considered to be in danger after 42 weeks of pregnancy.
I was 39 weeks pregnant, and I almost lost my baby, and that was in Australia. So I'm sitting here with somebody who is 43 weeks, and no doctors around. I can't even imagine what is going to happen if she went into labor tonight or now even.
There's a 1 in 17 chance of dying while giving birth in Sierra Leone, and women tend to have 5 to 6 babies. So we've got to say that Zainab's in a pretty high risk category, don't we?
Of course, Zainab. If we say the hospital we they carry you go there for like you go born your baby. Safely, you born, you come back. You will gladly follow go.
Zainab's silent because it's not her decision to make. It's up to her parents.
The mommy they afraid for a person they can't take in picking and then they afraid for.
Yeah, I'm this.
Bernadette asks the village chief to help the family see reason, and we leave them to discuss it amongst themselves. The next day, we take Zainab to her mum's village so we can ask her in person.
Pipi Zainab
Zainab's mother isn't here, so her aunt explains their concerns. The villagers are clearly suspicious. It's hard to get across how much danger Zainab's life is in.
This is going to go merry-go-round. This is going to go on and on. They're not going to let us take Zainab.
It's very difficult to get people to trust you.
The problem with trust to some people is that it's because of the illiteracy rate, honestly. Most of them, they are not educated. I'm really, really frustrated. Because my efforts have gone in vain.
But then, just as we're about to give up and leave, the village chief finally relents.
Who do they give me Zainab?
Right, man. It's a man to win. Understand?
It's a last-minute change of heart that may well have saved the lives of Zainab and her baby. It's almost midnight by the time we get back to the Aberdeen Women's Centre in Freetown. The next day, an ultrasound confirms our fears.
If you did not go and rescue her, then this baby, she will have lost this baby.
The doctor recommends an immediate caesarean.
Slack. No more slack.
Actually terrible. She's 16.
No tighty, safe. No lock down space. No tighty. Zainab, no. Zainab, baby. No make so, Zainab. Sit down, safe.
Nice to skin. Time. Time of bath.
Nami win. Bless you.
Bless you all. Oh, that is amazing. It's a boy.
Zainab. Now who's baby this? Boy picky. You see her? Don't watch your face there. You glad in? Boy kiss her now.
You feel proud then?
Oh, really? Very, very proud. Very happy. I don't even know how to express my feeling right now. I'm so glad. So glad.
Excellent. Wow.
It's kind of our first success story, right?
Yeah.
This is the first baby of first Sierra Leonean baby that we've had at least a part in saving. It's beautiful.
We made it. Thank you, God.
The birth of Zainab's baby is just the beginning. Aminata's trip is almost over, but before she leaves, she wants to visit her father's grave for the first time.
He was a very kind person, very selfless, and I feel like I have to continue that legacy of what he's done for people.
They're so happy that one of their own is here to do something. I can feel the love so much.
In 5 years, Aminata wants to build a clinic like this one for women in the countryside. She knows she has an important role to play in making sure that Sierra Leone's no longer the most dangerous place in the world to have a baby.
At the end of the day, yeah, things happened to me. When I was kidnapped, really bad things happened to me. What has happened to me, I can't go and change it. But this is something that I can change. I can be part of that change.